I'm the same way. I write it all down just because I know at some point it's going to become useful. Okay.
Yeah, like on Showtime. Did you see the Showtime show?
I did not see your show yesterday.
No, I watch all your stuff. You never watch mine. That's okay.
You're full of crap. I watched all your Showtime show the first 2 weeks. Look at that jerk right there. That's Matt Casey, the guy who ruins my life daily. Okay, but hey, we're back. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. The Bearmeister is here today. What's up? How you doing? I do watch my dad's Showtime show. I don't always see the first show on Tuesday. Yeah. And he gets like, hey, she's telling the secret. And he gets very offended if I didn't. But nonetheless, we got the big coming on later today. Mm-hmm. He should be on in about 30 minutes, okay? We got a good show here. We got, it's week 4 of deep dive, film. We got all that. We got some Twitter questions. We're going to hit Saints D versus Cowboys O, so everybody knows that. We're going to hit Bears D versus Vikings O. Oh, Thielen or Cousins or Thielen. We're going to do Browns O versus Ravens D. We're going to do the full Bills, Patriots.
Both sides,
yep. Okay? And then the full Raiders-Colts as well. And then we're going to just answer a few questions about Panthers-Texans, and then we're out of here. So, how you doing? You good?
I'm good. I'm realizing that this is in response to you saying we're going to study these games.
Right.
I've got more notes and crap than I've had this entire season.
Yeah, good.
I don't know if it's going to be good or bad.
Welcome to the squad. Okay,
right?
Yeah, that's the way it is. But all right, so let's not bullcrap today.
Deep dive number 1.
Let's get right after it.
Saints defense, Cowboys offense. Amidst all my scribbles and highlights, my number 1 question.
Yes.
It's the number 1 reason Dallas scored only 1 touchdown after they averaged over 30 points per game the first part of the season.
Okay, great question. This would be, if you made me narrow it to one thing, I would say it's the Saints defensive line. That would be it. Now, there's going to be more to this answer, but if you just said, Chris, give me one reason. Well, the one reason I'm giving you this is the number 1 reason is because you've heard me say the Saints D-line is the real deal, especially when it comes to the run. I mean, last year they were the second best run-stopping defense in football. This year, I don't even know where they're statistically at right now. I know they're probably not as good because, Deshaun Watson and a few teams ran on them early, but nobody runs up the middle on the Saints. That's what I will say. They have big across the board. Defensive tackles, they have a plethora of them. Defensive ends, they have a plethora of them. And then this is why it really worked, and they held Dallas. They didn't help the D-line. They said, we're not going to try to throw the extra safety in the box. Mm-hmm. We're not going to try to outnumber you on every run down in distance or every time you get in a heavy set with 2 tight ends. We're not going to. They put the pressure on their D-line at least to start the game to go, let's see if you can hold your own without a little extra safety help and things like that. And they did, and they stayed with that game plan. Now, to further that, the next thing I would tell you is, because of that, they got to keep 2 safeties deep a lot. But this was the big thing, and this could be big for the Saints all year long. I've been a complainer about the Saints since last year. They play too much man-to-man on defense. And this is where I think the Cowboys really stalled out in the football game. The Saints changed what they did on defense as according to the first 3 weeks of the year. Mm-hmm. They threw a curveball at the Cowboys. The Cowboys came in with a game plan saying, I think we're going to get a lot of man-to-man, and we're going to get a lot of plays to beat it. And, of course, we got some players, too, and we get some one-on-one matchups. We're going to take advantage of it. Well, the Saints said, screw you. You're right. You do have a lot of man-to-man beaters, and you do have good players, and we're stupid if we play man-to-man. And I give Sean Payton a lot of credit, along with Dennis Allen, because they went to a primarily zone defense for the night. And you always hear me talk. I'm a big believer in zone defense, and then it gets to 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. You got to play some man-to-man because there's too many ways to get those cheap completions. They did that. That's really what they did. So if I had to base it down to 2 things of what really slowed them down, those are the 2 biggest things more than anything. Dennis Allen went to some zone defense. You always hear me say game-specific zone coverages. Mm-hmm. Cover 3 with a little tweak because this team does this, and cover 4, with a little tweak because this team does that, and all of that. And that's what they did, and those were the 2 things that jumped out to me more than anything.
So you said that the Saints defense threw him a curveball. I have written down here. Yeah. This is from your notes. You said the Saints are doing things I've never seen them do before. That's all the going heavy zone instead of heavy man.
Heavy zone,
so
right?
That's
exactly
that right.
Yes.
Tell me what you think of this. I wrote this down a number of times about Dak. 2 things. I thought he had initial time, like whether it was a 3-step or a 5-step.
Agreed.
He'd hit the top of it and nowhere to go. Do you think he was confused, or do you think that the Saints' coverage was that good?
I think that they were, yes, I think they were a little confused. I think there was a few times where he dropped back and he thought he had man-to-man, and oh no, it's zone. And yeah, that's why I was really excited to watch this film, because, you watch on TV and we've seen him be a machine, right? We've been watching the Cowboys. I mean, it's been one pat and you're like, oh, there's a 15-yard completion. Oh, one pat and there's a 10-yard completion. That's the way the Cowboys have worked all year. And in this game, we saw one pat and no, he's not throwing anybody, and another pat on the ball and no.
Right.
And I kept going, man, what are the Saints doing back there to do that? But I do think it was good job of disguising their zone coverages and what they were doing, and just a game plan, and Dak being caught off guard going, okay, I mean, I'm dropping back and I'm expecting man-to-man here. Oh, whoa, it's zone. Okay, whoa, nobody's open. What do I do? Ooh, there's a window. Ooh, it's really tight. I don't know. So that was affected. And then, we talked a lot about their play action pass, right? About how awesome that's been.
Yeah.
Well, because the Saints front four and those big dudes up there were able to stop the run by themselves, they kept two safeties back a lot. So play action pass, what's it going to do with two safeties back, right? I mean, you've been a quarterback. It's, it's tough sledding if there's two safeties. You're staying back and you're trying to run play action pass. But, just with the last thing I'll say with their defense, I mean, when you really break them down and you talk about, okay, Sheldon Rankins, 305 pounds, Shai Tuttle, 300 pounds. Those are their backup defensive tackles right now. Then you get into Mario Edwards. He's 280, okay? And Cameron Jordan, who's a 290-pound defensive end. And, Omen Yada, who's 300 pounds, okay? Marcus Davenport's another big defensive end that's 270. Trey Hendrickson, he's 270. And I'm missing somebody else, too, along that conversation, I think. But either way, it just tells you, Malcolm Brown. There's another guy who's 320 pounds.
Yeah.
So you start to look at it and you go, ooh, if the Saints want to get big, they can get big in a hurry and play four big guys across the board. And that really is one of the strengths of their team, and it helped them out.
And the D-line can run, too, like guys that are not like household Saint defensive names. I wrote down number 92, chased down Austin on an end around.
I know.
Made him cut it back inside.
Right. That was I know exactly the player you're talking about. I know, Davenport. I mean, that's what you're right. It's a big, sneaky, athletic. They can move. And it's a special part of their football team. And if they can get that back end figured out with the right combination of what they do, they don't need to make life complicated. That front four is good enough to hold its own against any team running the football.
What do you want to see them get figured out in the back end? Because I have written down a couple times they must be covering their asses off because Dak has nowhere to go with it. And there was no run after the catch.
No, there was not.
Quarters 1 through 4.
And that's because they're playing zone too, because now your eyes are on the guy catching the ball and you can converge, right? Instead of being a man-to-man where, oh gosh, if the guy that's covering him man-to-man doesn't make the tackle, we're off to the races, right? And I think that's what we saw, like the Seattle game. Russell Wilson threw for 400 yards because he just kept going, damn, it's man-to-man. I'm going to throw, I'll throw a deep ball on the money. I'll throw a deep cross on the money. And it's just too hard to play man-to-man every play unless you're New England and have just special talent. And, of course, Belichick is a special secondary coach.
You know what else I noticed? Yes. And you've taken my eyes to this again this season. You talk about how Dak thought they were going to play man-to-man. They would also line up with 7-8 men on the line of scrimmage in third and medium. Where I'm sure in that moment he's thinking, there's got to be some kind of man. I wonder if these two are coming or those two. Most of the time, they brought 3 or only 4.
I know. See, there you go. That's huge. I mean, I do think as good as quarterbacks and offensive coordinators and receivers are just throwing and catching the ball this day and age, if you think you're a defensive coordinator and you're just going to break the huddle and go, this is our defense, this is what we're playing, and we're not going to make the quarterback think, you're insane. Unless you better have talent out of your ears if you're going to play defense that way. That's why I always talk about, the Seattle Seahawks could get away with that for years and years. They had a special talent on that side of the football, let alone that was a special scheme at one point, not anymore. But, that's very tough to play this day and age. I'll tell you, one team that kind of does that to this point that can pull it off is the other defense in this game. The Cowboys are a little bit of a, this is what we play, screw you, let's see if you can beat us. But they have the talent to do it. The Cowboys are special on talent on that side of the ball, so they can make it happen. But there's only a few defenses in football that have that type of talent. But I think we pretty much hit it all, right? I don't think there's anything more that
Cowboys-Saints.
Yeah, I think that is. I mean, hey, the Cowboys, you fumble on 4th and 1. You fumble if you're Jason Witten, down the middle of the field on a big play. Those are huge momentum swing type plays in a football game, and they hurt their hurt drives and hurt their opportunities to maybe get a few more points.
We're talking about what they did to Dak Prescott in the passing game. Should also point out Zeke had 24 touches, 65 yards.
Yeah.
Normally when he's over 20 touches in the run game and pass game, he's easily over 100.
Right.
So they did a fantastic job on him.
They did.
As well as just confusing Dak.
Yeah, no question about it. It was really impressive, and I was really impressed. Dennis Allen is one of my MVPs of the week. I love a guy I'm always a fan of a guy who self-scouts and goes, you know what? I got some issues here. We're letting up so many big plays. Let me look in the mirror. What the am I doing wrong here that I can help out? And I think Dennis Allen did that, and good for him.
All right, let's go elsewhere in the NFC, to the NFC North. Vikings and Bears. Before we get into the deep dive on the Bears' defense against the Vikings' offense, a lot of attention this week paid to Adam Thielen's post-game comments and more recently Kirk Cousins' response to that. Let's take a listen.
I think that's probably the most frustrating thing is we knew that was going to happen at some point. At some point, you're not going to be able to run the ball for 180 yards, even with the best running back in the NFL. And that's when you have to be able to throw the ball. You have to be able to make plays. You have to be able to, hit the deep balls. You have to do that because otherwise it's too easy for teams to just tee up and rush the quarterback. So we have to be able to run the ball and pass the ball.
All right, that was Adam Thielen after the loss on Sunday. Let's take a listen to Kirk Cousins today, which is Wednesday.
I really want to apologize to him because there's too many opportunities where we could have hit him on Sunday. And post-game, when I talk to the media, I always say, hey, until I watch the film, it's hard for me to really give you a straight answer. Well, now it's Tuesday night. I've watched the film. And the reality is there were opportunities for him. The one that's most obvious is the 3rd and 10 at the beginning of the game. We're near midfield. That's arguably 7 points. If you put the ball where it needs to be, he's shown, number 19 shown that he will make that play. And he'll probably finish the play in the end zone and pull away from the defender.
All right, that's courtesy KFAN in the Twin Cities. What stood out to you the most there?
Well, okay, first off, Adam Thielen, breaking protocol. Okay, this is something I was going to grieve about on the Pro Football Talk today because, again, if this was Aaron Rodgers or somebody else who said something like that, oh, why is he airing their dirty laundry?
Right.
Why is he cryptically saying these messages? So that's bullshit on Adam Thielen.
Do you think he was talking to the offensive coordinator or the quarterback?
I think he's probably talking to a little bit of both. I mean, I think a little bit of both, but it sounded more like Cousins to me. I don't know. What do you think? I'm sure the offensive coordinator is involved in that as well.
I think it'd be easier for me to believe that he was directing that at the coaching staff. I mean, when it's receiver to quarterback, you just don't hear that very often.
You don't
especially
hear
veteran to veteran.
Right.
And as you said, you don't hear any of it very often.
No.
That's going against the norm.
The norm.
To call either one out, the
it
coaching
is.
staff or the quarterback in the postgame. But I think that was more toward the coaches than it was towards his quarterback.
I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you. The problem is when you say something like that and you have a punching bag on your team named Kirk Cousins, who everybody can't wait to jump on, you open the door for everybody to jump on him. And then Kirk Cousins has to address it. Okay, and that's where it's bullshit. And so Kirk Cousins, let's just talk about that comment real quick before we get into the film. First off, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he always takes it like a man. I watched the film. I should have, I made some mistakes, blah, 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 blah. I wish he wouldn't have done that. I wish he would have addressed it today when he's outside his locker room. And don't say sorry to Adam Thielen.
Right.
Adam Thielen should be saying sorry to you, okay? So that would be my first thing. And then the next thing is, when you're the quarterback of a football team and you're the leader and you're supposed to be the captain of the ship, right? Okay, I don't think it looks good to say sorry to a guy who's like somewhat publicly calling you out. It's just not a good look. I wish he would have just said, obviously there were some issues. I could have played better. There's no doubt about that. We're all frustrated. But like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, they would have never apologized to a receiver. First off, no receiver would ever say that about them. but they would never have apologized to acknowledge the stupidness of that receiver saying that.
Right.
And, I would hope at some point he says something to Thielen, like, hey, dude, that was f***ed up. You said that. Now here we are. For the third day this week, we're still talking about this because Mike Zimmer had to talk about it at this coaching press conference this morning, and here we are because of him. And that's where it's BS, and I feel bad, but yet I'm not going to sit here and tell you Thielen's lying with what he said either.
Right.
Yeah.
It all stems from how poorly they played on Sunday.
Yeah.
It'd been kind of a small ball approach to the early part of the season, but it had mostly worked. Didn't work at all on Sunday.
And we talked about this, right?
Right, yeah.
We just said if the run game didn't work, this is what we talked about all last week.
Yes.
Is this pass game good enough?
Yeah, their margin for error was awfully slim.
Awfully slim.
So they run into a Bears defensive line that was fantastic.
Right.
What's the biggest reason you think the Vikings failed on Sunday?
Well, they became one-dimensional, that's for sure. The Bears defense is the real deal. There's no question about that. Now, within that, I didn't ever expect the Vikings were going to put up 30 points in this game. I thought this game was going to be like a 17-16 type of game. I think that's what I picked the Vikings to win the game by, 17-16.
Right.
Obviously, I was wrong. Okay. The biggest thing, though, and I think you've seen my notes, there is some truth to what Adam Thielen said in his little post-game press conference. And what I mean by that, of course, we know the big play he missed on 3rd and 10 to Adam Thielen, which would have been a touchdown, certainly, okay? I get that. And when you're playing a Bears defense, you only get so many opportunities like that to strike. So when it happens, you got to strike. But I think overall, if I just had to make a theme, especially in the first half, Kirk Cousins was predetermining, too quick to get the ball out of his hand and go to the check down a few times.
I want to raise my hand on the predetermining.
Go ahead. Right.
What's tipping you off? How do you know that he had predetermined where he wanted to throw?
Because there's certain plays where I go, this is the coverage you want for this play. I don't understand why you wouldn't give it a chance. And there's no looking to the concept. It's almost like, hey, I got to the top of my drop and, I'm already looking to the check down. I've already gone, I don't necessarily love this play versus this coverage. Where it might not be coached perfectly for that coverage, but it's still a play that works against that coverage, and you need to give it time to develop regardless. So I think those are little things I looked at. Or, yes, just coming to one guy right off the bat where it was okay, I have a shallow cross coming across, but there's some other things going on there on the left side of the field, or you're leaving a completion on the board, but you've already gone to the shallow cross. Or, he had a play action pass at one point where the pocket was clean and he had I want to say Thielen or Diggs. I got a few of these written down. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna go through them. I'm sorry. Second drive of the game. This is after the next series, right? After he missed Thielen on 3rd and 10. Second drive of the game. It's 13:07 in the second quarter. Okay, they're on their own 5-yard line. They're backed up. It's first down. He's got Stephon Diggs on a corner route. He ran a little post corner. He's wide open. He's wide. It's going to be at least a 30-yard gain. If Stephon Diggs makes somebody miss, it might be bigger than that, okay? But it's on a sail route, we call it, in the West Coast offense. Protection's good. He's got to throw it, I wrote. He's wide open, going to have a huge gain. But he decided to check it down to the back. He never really gave it a chance. It didn't really look like he gave it a look. It was almost like, I'm backed up. I'm just going to get the ball out of my hand.
Right.
And, so that's not good. And listen, I know this is hard. I understand playing in the NFL is hard. Another play, 8-10 in the second quarter. Thielen has a post corner, okay, on this one, versus cover 6, which is quarter, half. To his side, it's cover 4. He runs the post corner. It basically becomes man-to-man. He's got it. He's open. There's no pressure at all. And Cousins steps up in the pocket and never really gives it a look. Just goes right to the back and check down as soon as he steps up. The pocket's perfect. So, again, it's being critical, but when you're playing a great defense and you are a good football team and you're being paid $28 million a year, yes, there's only so many times you get a chance to make a big play against these type of defenses, and I think he left a handful of them out there on the field during the game.
Is that something you recognized last year and in his years in Washington too?
I can't say that I did. No, I can't. I really didn't. I feel like, I don't know if maybe all the pressure and scrutiny is getting to him a little bit around him. I don't have an answer for you, but he certainly played it a little too close to the vest in this game. and just never put their offense in a position of power. This was a game where he needed to make a few of those plays to back them off, and then maybe they would have been able to run the ball.
Right.
But then they couldn't do that, and the run game didn't work. And then the second half, they basically had to give up on the run game, and they became one-dimensional. And that's when the pass protection got bad.
And I want to get to the run game in a moment, but let's spend a little more time with the pass game. I have circled here and highlighted one thing you wrote. It sounds like Kirk Cousins didn't play as well as he wanted to, for all the reasons you pointed out. Maybe they're not helping him as much schematically. You wrote down, Vikings pass game needs imagination.
It does, no doubt about that.
So with their personnel, with their coaches, how would you like to see that play out?
Yeah, well, I just think they got to find different ways, especially, on all downs. Different formations, different route combinations. It's a lot of just basic West Coast crap, I would say. I always say this is day 1, day 2, day 3 installation stuff. These are the things when I was in training camp with John Gruden. These are like the first 40 plays we put in, the first 3 days of training camp. And that, to me, is the meat and potatoes of their offense. I don't see anything more than that. And the problem with that, maybe you can get away with it if you're super talented. They're not super talented on that side of the ball like that. And this day and age right now where we are, like, defensive players have seen these base West Coast plays since high school. This is not 1989 and Bill Walsh anymore. Everybody's running these type of plays. And I think that's really the big issue there. They got to find some different route combinations and different formations in general. Even their formation usage is very elementary for the NFL. I mean, it's, tight end here, receiver here, receiver here. Oh, 2 tight ends to the left, slot to the right. Oh, I form, boom, that's all there is to it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but every now and then it's got to be like, 2 tight ends to the right, tight slot over there, maybe with the back, motioning into the bunch on a 2nd and 7 or whatever it may be. They got to find some different ways to make the defense think. And right now they're just trying to do it with like pure physical ability and like physicality in the run game. And they met their match because the Bears' defensive front 7 is the real deal, and they whooped the shit out of that Vikings O-line, for lack of a better phrase.
So let's weave these two games together. The one we talked about before, Saints, Cowboys, praised up and down for good reason. The Saints defensive line. Bears defensive line was fantastic. I think I can count on one hand the number of times Dalvin Cook wasn't met before he got to the line of scrimmage. So let's start there. Which defensive line, which front four, Bears or Saints, was more dominant this weekend?
That's a good one. Okay, I'm going to give the Saints the edge there. Okay, it's really tough to say that.
You might go Chicago.
I know. Well, I think, Chicago's was really dominant too. I think there was more pressure on the Saints D-line, and they were asked, do it yourself. We're not going to help you. The Bears, which is embarrassing for the Vikings, they outnumbered the run game all day long. And they couldn't do anything to back them off in the pass game. That's where it's just like, I think I wrote at one point, I love the dedication to the run. But the Bears got 8 guys close to the line of scrimmage. You got number 14 and number 19. You can't let them play like this.
I have that written down for you. You can't. You can't let them play like this.
You can't let them play like this.
The passing game and success in the passing game was the only thing that would allow them to not play that way.
Exactly right.
Or to force them
scare
out
them out of it. Exactly right. And that never happened during the game. And yes, like I said, I think if Cousins is a little more aggressive, hits the deep pass that he tried to hit to Thielen, that's going to make, we're the Bears in the sideline now. Chuck Pagano's coming over. Hey, guys, we're going to have to change a few things. When they get in this formation, I don't think I'm going to bring that safety down anymore. We're going to blah, 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 do this and do that because I'm a little worried about the pass game today. And that never became an issue at all.
How worried are you about the offensive line? That had been pretty good.
It had been pretty good.
The first 3 weeks. Only throw out numbers when there's a really good point to be made. But Dalvin Cook was 6.5 yards per carry. That's not one game. That's 3 games.
Right.
He was 2.5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not all him.
No, it's not all him.
That's not all the Bears front 7. Minnesota offensive line has to sit the head of that table as well.
No question. I think Bradbury, their first-round pick at NC State, got his welcome to the NFL moment. I mean, he met Roy Robertson Harris and what's his name? Nichols, 98. What the hell is Nichols' first name? I always forget it. Bilal Nichols. He met him, and there was a good butt whooping they put on him. Even Elfline at guard had a rough day. They beat the crap out of that interior part of the offensive line in general. And those guys deserve a lot of credit. Eddie Goldman, Bilal Nichols, they didn't even have Akeem Hicks. Didn't matter. Roy Robertson Harris, they are phenomenal. The Bears have some beast up front, let alone those two outside linebackers, Floyd and Mack, on the edge. That's where they're special. And I'll say this, one more thing before we go on, because I need this. And you said the Vikings pass offense needs more imagination. Mm-hmm. Other thing that just popped to me during the game, and this could be a theme just for anybody watching football and loving X's and O's to look forward to. I'm not so sure blitzing Dalvin Cook on passing situations doesn't become a thing going forward. He's a little bit of a smaller running back, and they blitzed him a few times in some obvious situations with Kwiatkowski, and he just ran him over, Roquan Smith's replacement. And a lot of the times, I know, like New England, they have big middle linebackers. One of their beliefs is to have big middle linebackers so they can blitz them, and you can't block them with third down running backs.
Yeah.
And I think that could be something just to watch out for. Again, it reared its ugly head a few times in this game, and I wouldn't be shocked if teams said, you know what, rather than deal with this guy in the pass game coming out of the backfield, let's just blitz him and make him block and see if he can hold up.
Let's go to Browns-Ravens.
Yep.
All right, Baker Mayfield.
Let me text my dad and tell him we got 5 minutes before we call him, okay? So he doesn't have a hissy fit and like, I got nothing to do here all day. I'm just sitting here.
Call us both dummies again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Browns-Ravens, AFC North.
Yep.
Baker's numbers were a whole lot better than they have been. Best thing he did?
Best thing he did was he stopped his craziness in the pocket.
But he's still
jumpy. Yes.
I wrote down frenetic.
Yes.
It's a different kind of style.
Yes, it is.
Where he's jumping around.
Right.
He rarely goes from one step to 5 or 3 and just boom, hits it. He's moving kind of the way Brett Favre used to.
No doubt. No doubt. So, hey, this is the difference to me. This will be my only stand-up today, John McDonald. He is frenetic, right? He's always
moving front,
doing
back,
this.
side. Yeah.
But the problem I had with the Fournette, I have no problem with that. But the problem I had the first 3 weeks was it was this. It was, and then run. This week, at least he did this a few times. He went, and he wanted to run. He was like, man, Freddie told me to stop doing that shit. And he went back and got in there. And then it was still frenetic, but at least he stayed with the play to give it a chance. That was what jumped out to me maybe more than anything about his game as compared to what we saw the first few weeks. It wasn't like always pretty like you're saying,
right,
but he stayed in there.
Yeah.
Instead of abandoning ship where I want to go, nothing's good going to happen running backwards into your right.
Yeah.
We got to stop doing that.
My thought was he stayed true to himself.
Right.
He's not trying to become like, I hit my fifth step, I get it out no matter what.
Yes.
But the things that got him in trouble, which you just pointed out,
right,
he cut those out without being a completely different version of himself in the pocket.
And that's, you're right. Like, we want him to stay with himself. He's good himself. He doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. These are just little things that is still a young football player we're talking about that has yet to start a full NFL season.
Right.
And he just had some bad habits in the first few weeks, and that was a long way to kind of at least breaking some of those habits in the game.
I wrote down here a couple times, he's never tentative and he's never careful. I mean, maybe he should be.
Yeah, I know.
That's what makes him different and fun to watch.
It is. It's an aggressive every time. Like we just talked about with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And not doing it, you don't ever have to worry that the Baker Mayfield. He's coming back looking to strike. He is one of those guys that you're going to have to go, yeah, dude, hey, we don't have to strike every time you drop back to pass. It's okay to throw the check down. So, yes, you're right. I mean, he is looking to drop back and gash a defense. He's not looking to go, oh gosh, if it's not wide open, I want to throw the check down. That's certainly not his game, and that's what makes him very dangerous.
Let's go to the Twitter question about this game. _Stags wants to know more about the Cleveland offensive line against the Baltimore front seven.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was really the key to the game, okay? And if you've been listening to the pod, okay, I've been asking Cleveland to play through the run game.
Yep.
That's all I've been saying. They have a good run blocking offensive line. It's definitely better than their pass blocking offensive line, okay? And their success of their team at the end of last year was all through the run game. And you saw how talented Nick Chubb is, right? And everything he can do. But it's a diverse use of schemes in the run game, inside, outside zone, pulling guards. They did Y whams, and when I say Y whams, like the tight end is off the line of scrimmage and the defensive tackle's in there and they let the defensive tackle fly up the field and the tight end kind of swipes them from the side. They have that going. They had toss sweeps going with pulling people.
Yeah, what was the 88-yard touchdown run of that sweep?
A little toss sweep with the guard tackle pull out on the edge, right? And they block down, and he found a crease, and his speed, which is special, he had the speed to get through there untouched and make it a track race, and that was amazing. Yes, let alone Baltimore misses C.J. Mosley. They're not as athletic. They're not very athletic on the front seven. They're a size front seven, and yes, their linebackers, their middle linebackers, especially who I like, but they're still getting used to being middle linebackers in the NFL. Yeah, they got caught in some trash a few times where you go, ooh, that guy's got to get out there on the edge. And he didn't get out there to stop the run game in general. But I've been asking the Browns to go underneath the center more.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, they were underneath the center a lot during this football game. And it made them better with play action and everything else.
I want to ask you about one of the plays. In addition to the 88-yard touchdown run, you commented on that here.
Right.
There was a play in the third quarter. It was a second down. Kind of a harmless, wasn't like a key situation.
Yeah, I know the play you're going to talk about, I think, here.
OBJ, he didn't have a whole lot of production.
No.
But yet on this second down play, he ran like a 2 or 3 yard stop route with a seam route behind him.
Right.
They committed 2 defenders to him right away, sprinted up to him and stood there with him as he basically did nothing.
Yes.
And a seam route went way over the top of him. It was
one of Ricky Seals Jr. for a big game.
Turned into one of the biggest plays of the game.
Right. That's the OBJ effect. It's certainly real. You know, whether the stats are there or not, whenever it was a big play, whenever they were in the red zone, OBJ was doubled. And then when he wasn't doubled, it wasn't
even like a quote big play.
No, I know. This is where the problem is on this play you're talking about, because I don't know if I wrote it down, but either way, I know exactly. This is cover 3. And this is Marlon Humphrey's fault, but he's become so obsessed with Odell Beckham Jr. and he's so worried about him, and coach always saying things to him all week. And he played him man-to-man a bunch too in some certain situations. Now, I would argue that he held him about every time he played him man-to-man, and I think that's what ultimately led to the fight they had either way. But this play is cover 3. You saw the safety go down, right, to go towards OBJ.
Yeah.
That was Tony Jefferson. So he's going down there. That's his responsibility. He's really the one that has OBJ on that play. And Marlon Humphrey is supposed to stay back in his third and steal seams. You know, some teams use their cover 3 corners. When you read 2 going vertical, we want you to steal the seam because the buzzing linebacker underneath will take the outside hitch route that you're talking about, the 4 or 5 year. And he just got enamored with OBJ. And he saw OBJ stop and he said, oh, gosh, they're going to throw it to him. I got to go make a tackle. And he went, oh, gosh, I forgot about my cover 3 responsibility.
Right.
And that's what happened. And that is the OBJ effect, certainly.
And just like last week, in a similar kind of play that the Chiefs ran, they're leaving Earl Thomas in some tough positions. How do you think he's responding? How's he looking? Yeah,
well, Earl Thomas, is still good, but I don't think Earl Thomas is like, I don't look at Earl Thomas on film anymore and go, oh, well, he's special. He's all over the field. I mean, I think Earl Thomas, again, and this is an all-time great, and this is a guy that's going to the Hall of Fame, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but he's lost a step.
Well, and the bar was so high.
Yes.
Only 3 years ago, I think he was probably the biggest difference maker in the back end.
I no doubt about it.
3 short years ago.
Yes. I mean, him and Cam Chancellor will go down as some of the greatest safety combination duo in the history of the sport. It was special. I mean, he was a speed guy with 2 rockets up his ass, and Cam Chancellor was like a linebacker who could cover like a safety. Right. So it's an unreal combination. But yeah, I think he's still good. I don't think he's the difference maker he once was because he's lost that 6th gear. So you don't see him flying around the field and making as many plays or affecting the quarterback in the pass game. I think that kind of hits it all, right? Did I miss anything else? Okay, you know what? One pet peeve here, okay? Yes. And Pete, call my dad, get him going. So, but one pet peeve I had,
your dad?
And you might have saw this, but other than my dad, he's been a pet peeve and a pain in my ass my whole life. And you probably saw this and probably like, what is he talking about here? But I wrote, how did NFL offenses survive history?
I didn't know if you were being...
I'm being sarcastic here.
Okay.
Okay? With the extra guy in the box for the run game. Oh, how did the offenses ever survive without the RPO game?
Right.
Oh, gosh, there's an extra guy in the box. We got to throw the ball now. I mean, I'm just sick of it because I see on a weekly basis, and there was a handful of times in this game where the RPO is called, and if he gives the ball to the running back, he's going to run for 20 yards. But because they made a rule, if the safety's in the box, we're going to throw it.
Right.
We're going to try to jam a 3-yard slant in there. Oh, so cool. enough. And when in doubt, the quarterback always throws it. That's the other problem, of course, because that's what we do. We like to throw.
And think about how much practice time you'd have to devote to getting that mesh down and not fumbling it. If you truly are going with a 50-50 run pass,
yes,
that's a huge part of your valuable practice time to get that part down so you're not dropping the ball.
No doubt.
So, of course, he's going to pull it out and throw it.
Of course he is, right. Yeah. Anytime. Maybe that's what quarterbacks are there to do. It's like, what does a linebacker do? Yeah. They tackle. They want to tackle when the running back's running at them. And, it's play action. Well, quarterback, you give him any opportunity to throw the ball, he's going to throw the ball more times than not. But I see it across the league, and I saw it a number of times in this game, and it drives me crazy. And this is my other issue with it. Like, okay, I mean, we've been able to run the football with the extra guy in the box for a long, long time. The RPO just got here a few years ago. But also, the numbers, even with the extra guy in the box, especially in the shotgun, are still in favor of the offense because the defensive end is really not part of it because he's worried about the read option.
Right.
So he's sitting there doing nothing. So the numbers actually end up working out for the offense more times than not, but because they've made this, the safety's in the box, I got to throw the backside slant. And I just look at games all over the NFL on a weekly basis and go, damn, that was a 20-yard run, but they had to throw that slant route because of the RPO. Like New England doesn't do that. No. New England runs the ball. And then if the box is so crowded, they have a check to throw the ball, right? I mean, that's all there is to it. It's not going to be like, we're going to leave it in Tom's hands to figure it out every time. No, I mean, sometimes if they just want to run the ball, they don't even give a shit. Oh, you got an extra guy in the box?
Right.
That's right. I'm Bill Belichick, and I played under Bill Parcells, and they had lots of extra guys in the box when Phil Simms was the quarterback of the Giants, and they wanted to run the ball. But somehow they ran it.
Right.
So, I don't know. I just had to go off on that.
It's taken on much more of a life than Wildcat, but I had the same feeling about the Wildcat. I'm like, this is so limited. What do you think they're going to do? Running back's going to keep the ball and run it off tackle up the middle.
Yeah.
So on the RPO, of course they're going to throw the ball.
Yes.
So
So you're with
agree
me.
with you on all
you're
these
with
points,
me.
but
that's all right. All right, that's good. Good. I'm glad we agreed there.
All right.
All right, so we got a big one.
Yeah, see you in South Bend in a couple days
see you in South Bend.
Yeah.
We see each other every Friday morning where we're meeting with the coaches. Okay, but Notre Dame versus Bowling Green, Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on NBC. Number 9, Notre Dame coming off a dominant win over Virginia, which was a really exciting game. And Notre Dame's good, guys.
Defense
is special.
Dominating, yeah.
They have 4 NFL defensive ends. They can't even get them all on the field at the same time. And I'm sick of people hating on Notre Dame just because I don't know what they think. They're just like a bunch of smart kids who go to school and they play football in their spare time. No, they got studs all over the field. But we will be there, and I think Notre Dame's favored by 147 points in the game. And,
or 46 and a half.
Or 46 and a half. What's the difference? Once you go past 30, who cares?
Yeah.
But that will be Notre Dame on NBC, 3:30 Eastern time on Saturday afternoon. All right. Hey, what's up, Big Daddy?
Big Phil.
Well, hey, guys. Just listened to you. I can't wait to tune in that Notre Dame Bowling Green game. It'll be high on the list.
NBC people will be glad you said that. That's
great. Yeah, no, you keep selling it hard, and then go to confession on Sundays.
Okay.
You know what I noticed listening to you two guys? Paul, you know what
What's that?
A lot of things drive my son crazy. It just drives me crazy. Of course, hey.
Did you hear what I was saying about the RPO?
Oh, my God.
What do you feel about the
one
RPO?
more, here he comes across, and, I saw the linebacker move, coach, so I threw the slant. No kidding, he moved. He's got to move a little, but, well, whatever. That, it is an epidemic. It's like giving the quarterback, here's the run play, but if the corner is far off the far side receiver, you can just take the ball and throw it to him. Now, what is he going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Coach, I thought I saw some daylight between him and the corner, so I figured we'll throw it.
Right.
They always use it. Drive those numbers up, get those throws in. It's you know who you could teach that to get the numbers up?
Who?
Josh Allen.
Oh, I hear that.
Please throw it in the flat.
Yes.
I think New England said, you know what, don't cover him underneath because he won't throw it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's triple cover everybody and just leave him. He won't throw it. Yeah, I'm, of course, exaggerating, but
not by a lot, though.
Gosh, not by a lot.
No.
And that game, not to get in that game, it was really intriguing.
Yeah.
To watch on TV.
Yep.
And even to watch, I watched it on Monday. What is today? Wednesday?
Wednesday, yes.
So I saw it on Monday, and you know what it was? It was two really, really good defenses that are really smart, that just took away everything from both teams. Overall, that's what it really was. I mean, Tom Brady, I'm going to fake it and throw the in cut or this, whatever, element across the field. None of it was there. Running backs, forget it.
Forget it.
And it was great. I mean, and once again, it said this: New England can do whatever they want up front because they don't have to worry. They can cover the back end.
Right.
It's the best defensive backfield in the NFL.
Yeah.
Don't even try to say another one.
Right.
Because
and it's
the next
so well
one is
coached.
really far down the list.
But you're right, Dad, and we're going to do a little deep dive into this game, so I'm glad you're bringing it up. But you're right. It's and I know you and I had this conversation the other day a little bit, but it's weird because most defenses in football, they go, oh, we're going to do this and that with our front seven to help our secondary. And in New England, it's like the opposite. It's more like, no, our secondary's got it on lockdown, and now we can do all this crazy shit with our front seven that you can't prepare for and confuse you that way. And I think that's kind of cool. And
they have so many dual players up front. I mean, I can't even keep up with them. And Kyle Van Noy, I've said all this stuff before, but yeah, he's a bust. He's a first rounder, right, in Detroit?
No, he wasn't a first rounder. I'm going to say he was a second rounder. Yep.
Okay, well, how's that working out up in New England?
Yeah.
Now he's a damn superstar.
Right.
You know, John Simon. Who is John Simon?
Yeah, I remember.
Who's he?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, J.C. Jackson, I think, was a free agent. Yeah, he's pretty good. Jason McCourty, he couldn't cover me when he was in Tennessee, but now he's a lockdown corner if he wants to be.
Right. And, Phil, here's one for you. How does Jamie Collins come back and just as good or maybe even better than he was the first time?
Oh, he's better. He's better.
How?
Look, he's better. Well, one, listen, I was going to get to him, Paul, because he would be up there. I don't know his numbers. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just know when I watch him,
he
everywhere. Is a factor everywhere.
Right.
They're using him. He's more versatile now in what they're doing on defense because it's changed since he was here.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you, players have to be put in the right positions to succeed. Bill Belichick doesn't say, oh, my defensive end has to be this guy.
Right.
He'll play three guys to get the job done.
Right.
Oh, you're good at this? Then I'll just put you in for that situation in these formations or whatever. You know, he fits his system to the player's strength, and it's really neat that way. So Jamie Collins, he's really been terrific. But other guys, think of Olivier Vernon. You know, he gets out of the defense he's in up in New York, and look how he's playing.
Yeah, right.
And oh, wait. How's Shaq Barrett doing down there in Tampa Bay? Oh, my gosh.
Only the NFL defense MVP.
And then the last one, it really drives. What is it about Robert Quinn that you wouldn't like?
Right.
I mean, he's like and he's done it his whole career. Mm-hmm. He's basically been steady, a good pass rusher with speed and all that. Couldn't play down in, Miami, but
right.
Hell, he was keeping the Cowboys in the game the other night.
Yeah, no, he was all over the place.
I mean, it's great. So it's just like quarterbacks, we don't give enough credit to who's coaching them, the system, the play calling. It just goes right to, well, the quarterback was really terrible.
Right.
And you said it. I think you said it to me, or I saw you do it on TV. Jared Goff, you thought when you watched the game on TV it was terrible. Then you study it and you go, you know what? Okay, let me eat that.
Yeah.
Because it's the opposite.
Right.
TV does what to football?
It lies.
It lies.
Yeah.
And, of course, commentators and everybody see it a different way. And then when you watch it yourself, you go, oh, my gosh, I have a whole different slant and feeling about the game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so this is the one thing, just because the Bills defense, it is amazing. I want to just get Dad's opinion, just generally. I mean, I don't think there's a defense that defends New England better right now than Sean McDermott. Do you feel pretty?
Oh, well, that's again. You can't even. Why bring the subject up? Because it's stupid.
What is it they're doing, Phil? What is it they're doing?
Well, he does everything kind of backwards. You know, a lot of people get their safeties back there and they roll them up and try to confuse him. Well, they get them up there and then roll them back.
Yeah, right.
And I tell you, they took away all their little pet plays.
Yes, they did.
And of course, they're so active, and they do a lot of stuff. They go, oh, this is going to be a rundown, so they do games and things up front. Everything they do.
Yeah.
And they're taught well. Their techniques, in other words, it is a lot like New England. In other words, if you have a technique and you're supposed to be outside or whatever, they never break the rules.
Right.
And Christopher, you said it right too. I think they have great tales and
breakdowns during the
week. Breakdowns of what the team is going to do in these formations. So the guys, not that they guess on what the play is going to be or the route, but they got a pretty dang good idea.
Right.
I did a game once. It's a quick story in New England.
Yeah.
And they said when they get in this formation, we told our backside corner to play the in cut and nothing else.
Right.
If he runs by you, we'll come out and say, get a mic and say, our fault. We told him, don't worry about it.
Right.
And I went, oh, it can't be that. He goes, it's 100%. So
right.
I'm watching the game, and I did not bring it up. I kind of did it in a casual way, like, wow, they run a lot of in cuts on the backside or something like that. But it was 100%. So they told their corner, play it every time, and
right.
we'll tell you when not to play it.
Right.
And so coaching is everything in the NFL, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Coaches make good players great, and they just know how to make it work and call all their plays at the right time. And it's the teaching. That's what it is, too. It's the teaching.
Yep.
The Buffalo Bills are right up there with the New England Patriots, how they're being taught on the defensive side.
Right, no question.
They got the best of Brady. I think statistically, we'll go back in January and say this was his worst game. However, on a day when both quarterbacks, Phil, were really poor on third down, New England had 3 key third down conversions. You know, one thing in common with all 3, there was a theme. What would you guess it was?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to say he threw it to Edelman.
I'm going to throw it to the back.
Threw it to the running back.
Yeah.
Oh, he threw it to the running back.
All 3 third down conversions that mattered, Phil, went to a running back. And I watched this, and I'm just like, they've been doing this for years, whether
right.
it's Shane Vereen in a Super Bowl 5 years ago or White bail him out on Sunday. What is it they have figured out about, you know what, they can do all this stuff. They can do reverse things with their safeties, but no one's going to cover the back consistently. It's like they're the one team that really has that figured out.
Well, they do. Them in New Orleans, because you know Alvin Kamara does
Orleans,
too. Right?
Kamara,
they're up there. Yeah, it's part of they're going to play matchups and whatever the defense tells them to do, and then they're going to bring that part of their offense out in the inventory of it. Oh gosh, this is one of those days where we're not going to have receivers or tight ends. Oh damn, okay, they're going to play like this. Ooh, okay, we might have to break open the running back inventory of our offense here.
Right.
And I think that's the big thing, along with Josh McDaniels. And I think out of those 3 plays, one was the wheel route you're talking about, right down the sideline, right?
Yeah.
Which was really designed just for him, from what I looked at.
I couldn't tell because White and Phil, I would imagine you saw the same thing here, but
yes,
White came out of the backfield and he hesitated for a second.
Right.
I was wondering, is he waiting to see if 58 blitzes, or is he just giving him the okie doke
and
setting him up?
Okey doke, yes.
Just setting him up.
Setting him up. He's free releasing no matter what. But because he was on the end of the line of scrimmage, he knew he wasn't just going to be able to beat him with straight speed if he just showed his hand right away. So he kind of ran at him and gave him the old stutter, bounce, and then hit it again.
Yeah.
And Brady was, if you look at the play, before he points at the linebacker that's supposed to cover James White, which is Matt Milano, who's a phenomenal football player.
Yeah, 58.
I mean, this is one of the best linebacker duos in football, those two, him and Edwards. He did.
Well, too.
Covered him well. But what he's telling him, too, just in case that 58, maybe he's dumb and forgets and blitzes by accident, you got to give me eyes because I'm not protected, and they might have to throw it quickly. Yeah. But as soon as he saw him not blitzing, he set him up and he runs the route. And then McDaniels is awesome at throwing screens. I think a few of the third downs were screens on third down.
Third and long.
He has a great feel for, okay, they're doing this here. They're running games like Dad said up front. Let me see if I can catch them out of position and throw a screen.
Right.
I didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's the new thing. I noticed 2 teams. Of course, New England does it with their running backs. But if you watch the Chiefs, now they don't do it as much because they got all these other guys that throw it too. But they have their running backs come out and do, like you said, Paul, the okie dokie, and all of a sudden it's a little stutter step, and then boom, they go. And I think it was, let's see, who was it? It was McCoy, I think, who did it one game, and I saw it twice.
Yeah.
And the other time with Williams, I just go, my gosh, I even said it on TV. Everybody in the offense has not a double move, but a stutter. They don't do double moves because that's too slow.
Right.
They do just a quick little change of pace. You flick their head or whatever it is, and they go.
Right.
And it's like they bury their head. It's a new way to play. You know, guys run. They just run, and it's the Rams when they're going across the field. They are running as fast as they can run.
Right.
And it's hard. I watch the defensive backs and go, they can't keep up because they keep expecting, they're not used to that. There's a few teams that I think they're teaching their receivers just a new way to play the game.
Right.
And it's really pretty cool.
Right.
Phil, I 2 questions for your dad.
Yeah.
Keeping with the running backs catching the ball in the passing game, Phil, can you remember anything back to when you were being coached by Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick was listening to a lot of this that can tie together what they do with the running backs in the passing game now to things maybe you were ahead of the game with back in the 80s and early 90s?
No, we were never ahead of the game in the passing game, that's for sure. Listen, I threw it to the running backs more than I thought. Yeah. Once somebody showed me, I said, "Oh wow, we did dump it off a lot," because it was really deep routes, and if it's not there quick, get rid of it. Whatever. The one thing we definitely brought to their offense, which Bill Belichick does to this day, and very few games, maybe this past game is the first time that I've maybe ever watched the tape of the New England Patriots, so they didn't do it, but all the seam plays by the tight end, whoever it is, or running back, stuff like that, and it always happens for the Patriots. I don't know what their mark is. It's probably inside the 35, but usually inside the 30. Look out. They're going to find a way to get somebody going down the seam.
Right.
And, of course, they did it with Gronk, and they did it before. But then when they got Hernandez, then they started doing it double, lots of then it was like a mainstay of their offense.
Right.
And to this day, everybody still tries to run those plays, but they created it just like they've created this running back phenomenon, throwing the football to them. But, of course, they know they're going to do this. They draft people to fit their system that way, and they love the running back. They're not going to draft a running back that can't catch and run a little too and do other things for them.
Yeah. All right. So wait here. I want to piggyback off this and just hear what Dad even thinks about it, because I don't think we've ever talked about this. But to what you're saying, like the passing offense, the running back, all of that. And Dad probably got a little bit at the end of the career with Dave Meggett, who got involved a little bit, but.
Yeah, we started that too.
You did. You just started. You just started that. That's why I was going to say it. But I was going to go to this and tell me if you agree with me or if I'm wrong here. But really, I mean, of course, a lot of their offenses, stuff from Dad ran with Ron Earhart, and then Charlie Weiss was there. Charlie Weiss was on that. So there's base of what Dad was doing with the Giants that the Patriots do. But the rest of the offense now, with the 9 million different ways to throw to the running back or Edelman over the middle, is really, from my knowledge of the situation, is concocted by Bill Belichick. It's Bill Belichick going, well, if I was in this defense, I wouldn't want to see this. Right? If I was playing this defense, this is what gives me problems. And they've grown their inventory of offense off of Belichick that way. And McDaniels is smart and knows how to find creative ways to continue to do it and find other ways off of it. But I don't know if Dad agrees with that, but that's just kind of what I always thought.
I think that's I think there's been a lot of defensive coordinators have given great ideas to offensive guys going, hey, look, I don't want to see this. I don't sleep at night because I think of this situation. Why aren't we doing it? And, of course, the offensive coordinators go, yeah, it makes sense.
Right.
And it's pretty cool that way. The screen game by the Patriots, that is, I think all that is Josh McDaniels, of course. But the formations and using all kinds of different players, they won the Super Bowl last year because they were able to come out and use a group of people and do something that very few teams do. And they did it, and they caught the Rams a little by surprise, even though it's not like they were wide open every time, but it won the game for them, and they ran the same play with a different personnel group at the end of the game.
Yeah, you're talking.
And if you haven't seen
go ahead. I was just going to explain.
I want to say this. Yeah. If you haven't seen the documentary, or whatever you want to call it, with Belichick and Josh McDaniels talking about the Super Bowl, it's not good. It's fantastic.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
they go through. It's amazing during the game. Oh, we did this 3 times. They did this, so why don't we do this? I mean. So in other words, real quick, I'll say it. Did we do this? Did I talk about this?
No, you know what? You talked to me. You told me to watch this, and I have yet to see it.
Okay. Well, they blitzed. They crowded the line of scrimmage with everybody, and they blitzed the Los Angeles Rams offense. So the Rams said, oh, my God, we can't pick that up. So they brought in their running back. They were hitting spread, 5 wides, and they brought a receiver in, and they blocked it up. And he says, well, let's get in that formation now, then bail out of it.
Right.
So they did it a couple times, and the Rams went, okay, now we got it. They're going to do it, and they're going to bail out, so let's don't bring them in. So what do? They're talking on the sideline. Well, we've bailed the last couple times. They think we're going to do it again. Let's send
blitz
them.
this time, right?
And that ended up being the interception at the end of the game that won it, because Jared Goff, really kind of fell down as he was trying to throw the ball, because they timed the blitz up so perfectly and got to him so quick that he couldn't even look down the field and see, what do you think the corners did on that blitz? Gilmore made the interception, right?
Right, I'm pretty sure.
He was way off. That way, he knew what was going to happen, so he could watch the throw and everything, and I don't think Brandon Cooks ever saw the football in the air.
Yeah.
So really, but it's more than that. There's just so many things. Belichick going, where's Sean McVay? Where is he? I can't find him. Because he must have had a tale about Sean McVay calling who knows what. I don't know. But I just thought that was funny, too.
Right.
And his little speeches to the team. Here's what we got. 12 plays to win the game. That's all we got. It's 12. Do your job. Don't screw it up. And da-da-da. And pay attention. And, all the. Of course, that was the clean version. I've heard the real version, which was awesome.
Did you ever?
But it was really good, and it just goes to show you. I tell people all the time when I go out, football players, to be great, you got to be smart, and that's what I think. Even Wade Phillips said it. I heard it a couple weeks ago. He goes, "Just give me a bunch of smart guys, we'll do okay."
Yeah.
Did you?
Didn't talk about the talent as much as he did. Yes, I know I want them to have some talent, but if they really know what to do here, we can really put them in the right position to have even better success than their talent probably would let them otherwise.
Yeah. Right. I'm wondering if there was ever a point, Phil, when you were playing for the Giants where you realized that Bill Belichick had this thing figured out pretty well, and maybe you leaned on him or had after-practice conversations with him about how you could do your job better based off of how well you understood he was doing his.
Yeah, no, it was, listen, that was so long ago, it was hard. He was, not much older than me, but we did talk from time to time. Anytime we faced the left-footed punter from the other team, he would ask me to stay out after practice and punt. I'd go, okay, but, after like 30 punts, I'm like, Bill, my leg is starting to hurt because I kick left-footed. And he wanted the returners to get used to the ball turning over a different way. He was great at always walking up to me before warm-ups. Hey, it's windy today. What do you think of that guy down there? And I go, oh, he is going to be so afraid to throw the ball outside. He goes, yeah, I don't think I said, he won't, Bill. He goes, good, I didn't think so. He'd always want me to reaffirm what he was thinking about, because we played in so many windy games.
Right.
And I would say, hey, so-and-so, I know he's afraid to throw the ball in this. And he'd go, yeah, you're right. It was kind of like, our little dirty secret. We would laugh about it and things like that. But no, every once in a while, he would actually give me a little bit of a pep talk about our offense and just go, hey, look, I know this and this. Just hang in there. You're doing fine. And, he was really cool that way.
Yeah,
that's great.
And it's, I think our relationships kind of stayed that way ever since, especially when I was doing all those games up there. My gosh.
Right. Yeah,
Now,
seriously.
you want it last thing. You want pressure? Sit in a meeting with Bill Belichick before a game and up there on a Friday, and when you start talking about stuff, you better have the answer. Because I said to him once, I said, you played this front and you did this, and with this guy, why? He goes, well, you didn't do that. Just did. I went, oh, my God, I broke out in a sweat. Well, yes, you did. And he goes, no, we didn't. I said, well, I started thinking, I go, you did. You played it, and I gave him the thing. He goes, oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that. You're right. Okay, I'll give you. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, my God. But he's famous for doing that to announcers. He will quiz you to make sure you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And so that was really not fun. But when I did all those New England games, I did study a little extra harder those weeks than I did some of the other
on
ones.
your toes.
Yeah, I bet. All right,
And
Dad.
what's my last thing?
What?
What's my last gripe?
Tell me what it is.
Oh, I got to tell you.
Please, I would love to hear a Phil
Oh,
gripe.
my God. It's just, how could they put Dwayne Haskins in the game? How could they do that?
Why wouldn't they?
All they did the week before, everybody I'm watching the game on Monday night played Dwayne Haskins. Well, they put him. Why play him against the Chicago Bears? Let's put him in against one of the worst defenses in the league. But no, that was wrong. That was wrong. Now, why was that wrong?
I don't know either.
Because it didn't go well?
Right.
Is that why?
Right.
Monday night they wanted him played.
Yeah.
And then this week, that Sunday, Case Keenum's not feeling well. He had to be a little banged up.
Right.
They put him in, but that was the wrong thing to do. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. You know?
Yeah, I hear you. I noticed the same thing too, and I read you. I got you.
It was a great time to put him in. I thought, hey, it's the Giant defense. They might start him.
Right.
Yeah.
And everything. So now, of course, I don't know what they're doing this week.
I don't think. They don't know either. I just read Jay Gruden's podcast. He said they have no. His he
had no plan.
He had no plan as of right now. So we'll see what happens.
That might be the best plan of all. Just
You're
have
right.
No
it's
plan.
only Wednesday.
You're right.
Because you don't want to be the quarterback facing New England Patriots.
Right.
You play for Washington this week. So This is one of those weeks that go, so-and-so you're starting. The other two go, yeah, that's good. He deserves it. That's it. You guys have a great day.
Good
All
work,
right, Dad.
Phil.
You the man.
I'm going down to Jacksonville to interview.
Oh, the savior
Gardner.
of the universe.
Who's that?
Gardner Minshew.
Yep.
Is he really?
Yes.
I'm going to get on a plane here in a couple hours, go down there and interview him. And
You have a list
check
of questions, Phil, or are you just like off the top of your head just start in? How do you do that?
Oh, I always plan a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. And of course I watched all of his games and everything, and I've done that anyway. So that's going to be fun, and I've learned a lot about him just asking a few people, and I love it. I don't know where it was, or a reporter, or at the combine. He walks in and goes, "Yeah, I know I'm not tall enough, and yeah, I'm not a great athlete, and I have just my arm's not like a rocket, but I'm gonna play in the NFL." And that was his opening statement. And so you gotta like that. And man, he did make some great plays against the Denver Broncos this past week.
Most importantly,
definitely
Phil,
did.
most importantly,
Yeah.
Yes.
based off of what we expect Gardner might wear, what are you going to wear?
No, I'm not. I think the first thought was, would you wear cutoff shorts?
I would love that.
Jean
Would
jacket?
you wear a shirt with the sleeves cut off? Now, I might do that, but I'm not wearing cutoff shorts to see my big old white legs. But no, you know what it is? Everybody's talked about all the things. It's time to just really talk about the football player.
Right.
And let's get off it's a novelty act. I think it's more than that. Of course, we know that. He's going to be in there for a while. And let's just talk more about the football and see why, he can't play at East Carolina, but he can lead the nation in passing at Washington State and be drafted.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
I don't know what they're doing in East Carolina. They must have some hell of a quarterbacks over there.
Right.
But that's another story we'll talk about later.
All right, Dad. You
All
the
right,
man.
see you guys.
All right, man.
See
Have
you,
a
Phil.
good trip. See ya.
You too.
East Carolina. I think Jeff Blake played there.
Yeah, he did.
Threw a great deep ball.
He did. Oh, he threw a great deep ball. Threw
Yeah.
it high as hell.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I like Gardner Minshew, and I've been one saying that they have a chance to win games with him as quarterback. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I watch highlights on Sunday and Monday, and the MVP of the football game was Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
And they don't show one highlight of him on any highlight you watch. He ran for 230 yards,
Ran hard.
and all we see is 3 plays from Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
And that's where it pisses me off, just because you know me. I'm sick of this, like, the quarterback's the only guy that gets the credit. But he's doing a phenomenal job, and I don't want to take that away from him.
Right.
All right. That was good. That was good stuff. I love
liked your
talking
dad,
to my dad like
I like
that.
your dad every time, but I think it was.
Because he's my dad, and he
Yeah.
doesn't tell me these stories sometimes until somebody else asks him. That's just the way he is.
Yeah.
So I usually end up hearing stories with strangers around, and strangers are like, "Oh, you've probably heard this story a million times." I'm like, "Actually, no, I've never heard him say this." Because if I ask them these questions on the couch, you're like, "Oh shit, Christopher, I can't remember. I don't know, shit. It was too long ago." But then when there's a crowd around, all of a sudden
He comes alive in the phone.
he
or on the
comes
podcast,
alive.
though.
Oh,
Yeah, he
if
does.
there's a microphone or a crowd, his memory gets a lot better.
He needs to come up sometime. He's actually.
Yeah, we're going to get him up. We might have him up in a few weeks, actually.
Okay.
We're trying to figure some things out.
Are we going Raiders-Colts?
Yeah, I guess we don't really have to hit anything on Patriots-Bills, right? This is all I want to say. There's nobody better defending the Patriots offense than Sean McDermott, just like you heard Dad say. They have no weakness to their defense.
Yep.
Their linebacker duo is as good as any in the sport, those two. I mean, it is up there with anybody, Edmonds and Milano. They are phenomenal. Their front four, as we talk about with a lot of good front fours, they can do anything. They have the right depth to go, we got to play fast. It's third down. We got plenty of guys to do that. We got to get big, and New England's getting them big. We can get big too. So they have great versatility there. It's just such a well-coached defense. Belichick does it a little through man coverage.
Yeah.
McDermott does it through zone coverage, but it all comes back to like what Dad said, their techniques and their ability to break down the opposing offense. Right. And that's where they're special.
But they're going to lead them to a 9-7, which is nice.
Yeah.
Type record instead of 12-4, unless Josh Allen starts playing better. Your dad talked about him a little
Yes.
bit. I wanted to get him back to that, but we didn't really have time.
Yeah, I
He
know.
was going to
we
different
had
places.
too many stuff, right?
If you had one day, with
Right.
Josh Allen this week to
Right.
watch that tape,
Yeah.
what's the message you would want to get across to him?
Know your team. Know the game. Like, know that you have a good defense and that you do not need to be rolling right trying to throw 50-yard lasers down into triple coverage. It's just, it's not one of those games. Tom Brady's the greatest of all time. He's over there struggling right now because he's playing your defense. It's good. So don't, fall into the trap and give them the ball at the 50-yard line because of a dumb interception. I mean, that's one of their drives for a score. They gave him a short field on another turnover. So just, he just has to rein it in. It's just a little too crazy.
Good way of saying it.
And he got out of hand in that game. And really, it's what ultimately caught him to get hurt, too.
Right.
It's just he saw the Red Sea part. Oh, I'm going to run and just go.
Right.
And it's just, hey, I know you're a stud and you're physically gifted, and he wants to win and do the right things.
Right.
But it's the NFL. It's a different animal. It's not Wyoming anymore. You're not going to run over nickel defensive backs and linebackers like you used to.
Or throw it 40 yards downfield.
Yeah,
with
right.
Two safeties
with
and one corner
J.C. Jackson and McCourty all around. They're going to get it. So, yeah, that was just the big thing overall there. Other thing, too, that we got to remember.
Yep.
They run a base version of New England's offense. Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, is a New England guy.
But it didn't look like New England at all.
No, it didn't. It didn't look like it. They're a really base version of New England. And, yes, it's not on New England's level yet either way. But, one of the first things I wrote early in the film, just to say, is, I wrote BB, as in Bill Belichick, knows the Bills' offense as good as the Bills know it. He knew what the pass concepts were. He had the breakdown of, they're in this formation. They do these 3 or 4 things.
Do you think he was taking away the underneath and forcing him to throw it deep?
No, I don't necessarily.
Trying to give Josh a little bit.
Yeah, no. Josh missed some underneath. He needs to just throw it underneath or throw it away or do something like that. I think he did 2 things. He went into that game and said, I'm not going to let him throw it deep. We're going to have people back there, okay? Yeah. And I think the other thing he said is he's not going to run right on me. Just like he did to Patrick Mahomes, he was not going to let Josh Allen make a living of running and make it a game that way to where, he scrambles for 15 yards. And then he scrambles and buys 10 seconds and throws a ball for 20 yards. And then, then he is in the pocket. He wasn't going to let that be the theme of the game. He was going to keep Josh Allen in the pocket and say, prove to me you can beat me that way, and of course he did not.
He couldn't. It was a classic case of veteran quarterback and a young quarterback, both probably having, I think, what will prove to be their worst days of the year.
Yeah.
Brady found a way to win in a bad day.
Definitely.
Where Allen wasn't even close.
No. Brady played the correct way.
Yeah.
He said, this is a tough day. They're good.
Right.
My defense is good too. When I'm about to get crushed, I'm going to throw it to the guy's feet.
3rd and 15, I'll take this gain of 6 and punt it away.
Exactly right.
Did that a couple of times.
Yes, and we're all going to sit here and go, he threw the interception in the red zone. Well, hey, Buffalo's got players too.
Yep.
The guy made a good play. He was kind of off on the underneath guy. He saw Brady getting ready to gear up to throw to the guy behind him, and he jumped off his guy and got in the way. Brady's not never going to make a mistake again.
Right.
Yeah, but you're right. He played the game the right way.
Right.
All right, here we go, Roto World. Roto World is here to save the day. Okay, Josh Norris and the Roto World guys, will help you win your fantasy league. Listen to them. As I always say, don't text me, don't call me. I'm not telling you anything about fantasy. I don't know. These guys are all over it. Sunday Night Podcast covers the takeaways, both fantasy and real life, all the big storylines from every game on Sunday. And then as the week goes on, they have podcasts that'll tell you who to play, who to sit, whatever it may be. And it's more than just fantasy with these guys. I'm just telling you, they really know their crap. They know X's and O's too. They got great knowledge of talents of players and how they're used within their schemes. It's really worth the listen if you're trying to get a little beat on the fantasy world and try to get some knowledge. I would suggest you listen to the Roto World Football Podcast. All of them are really smart, especially that Josh Norris guy.
Did you go the route of playing fantasy this year? Do you have a team?
I did not.
No.
One of these years I'm going to do it. I'm a little intrigued by it, but then when it gets into roster shuffling and shit like that, and I'm on a 25-day run of no days off because of Notre Dame and all that, I'm like, thank God I didn't do fantasy football. Thank God.
Okay, Raiders-Colts.
Yeah.
In the interest of full disclosure, all the other games that you said we're going to cover, spent a lot of time watching, had a good time with them.
Right.
Didn't make it to this one.
Yeah.
So
that's okay.
What's the headline? Most important things I have to know about Raiders-Colts.
Most important things you have to know. You're right. And there's nothing here glaring X's and O's wise that I sit here and just go, oh, gosh. Okay, the biggest thing of the day to me, more than anything, I think would be on the Raiders defense, first of all. The Raiders D-line, their ability to handle the Colts O-line in their run game, I think was a little surprising to me. Okay, that right off the bat. That's where I really scared with the Raiders in general. I thought they were going to get steamrolled by the great blue wall of Indianapolis there. No, they played well. You know, P.J. Hall, Hankins, Lugit, Hurst, they did a lot of things to disrupt that run game. Now, there was some mistakes early on that I do think that the Colts got away from their run game a little in general, but you know, overall, the offense for the Colts, some untimely penalties, some drop passes, I think being a little impatient with their run, and then, of course, throwing a pick six at the end of the football game. That gave them 7 points. They were in field goal range on another series, and Paris Campbell fumbled a wide receiver screen that would have gone down to like 4th and 2, 4th and 1. Who knows? Frank Reich, he might have gone for it. But either way, they tentatively, I could say, left 10 points on the field just right there with a no field goal opportunity and, of course, the pick six. So that was the big thing. But the big thing I will take away more than anything on the Colts offense, just this, I'll say this. With no T.Y. Hilton, they are a different offense. They don't have a difference maker yet. They got a lot of good. I think Paris Campbell has the ability to be a difference maker. From what I see on film, I mean, he has a chance to be special because he can fly, but he's just getting back in there. But no guy to take pressure off of things when things are tough.
Nobody they have to worry about.
Nobody you have to worry about. Nobody that, okay, this defense is having a good day and, you know, they're doing a good job tackling. Who's going to be the guy that's going to make somebody miss and then make another guy miss and break down the sidelines for 40 yards to change the field position? Right. Without him, there's no guy there. There's a lot of good, don't get me wrong. But I don't know if there's any game changers on that offense other than T.Y. That would be one of my big takeaways.
We both like Frank Reich a whole lot.
Yes.
It's something he could do to go next level and show, you know, I'm not just pretty good at this, I'm really good, to be effective without a real difference maker.
Yeah, no, I think he is next level. I really do. I mean, Frank Reich is on the verge for me as a true offensive play caller and play designer. He's almost on the tier of the elite to me.
That's awesome praise.
Yes.
So what can he do?
Yeah,
his current personnel?
No, I think what he's got to do, current personnel, is rely on that run game more. I think without a guy like T.Y. Hilton, you know, to me, they have a special offensive line. Find more ways to run the football that way. It's only going to help some of the matchups in the back end, help Jacoby Brissett. But I don't ever come away from their games going, they lack creativity, or, I wish they would have done this. For the most part, I'm usually pretty on board with what Frank Reich does. I go, I see the logic. I get what he's doing here. That's pretty creative. They let him down. You know, with the turnovers, like we said, you know, a number of drop passes, I think those were really the big issues of the day, added to the fact that John Gruden got off to a hot start play calling. I mean, it was a phenomenal first drive, okay? And then the start of their second drive, they did a little like fake toss reverse to Trevor Davis, and he ran for a 50-something yard touchdown. So before the Colts even got into the game, they looked up at the scoreboard and were like, damn, we're down 14-0.
Yeah.
You know, we only had the ball once, and we're down 14-0.
Is Gruden a guy that can get hot like a three-point shooter?
Definitely
Play calling that way?
Definitely can. And he's a master. I'd always be scared of him. In the first 10, first 12, first 15, whatever one's working for him, he'll pick one of those numbers. Like if the first 10 didn't work one week, he'll change it the next week and go, we're going to the first 11. Just like because he's like crazy like that.
Yeah.
But yes, he had a great game plan early on. You know, and I think a little bit, if I just had to say one thing again here about the Colts, they're well coached, okay? I do question if they're big enough up front. Do they have enough size when a team wants to play smash mouth? Do they have enough size to stop those type of teams? I don't know. The other thing is, I don't know, just like the offense, don't know if there's a game changer on their defense at any level. You know, maybe Darius Leonard, and he wasn't playing and he's hurt. He's special. He's really good. I get that. But a lot of good on the D-line, a lot of good in the secondary. But nobody good enough to where you're going, man, we're changing our game plan. Mm-hmm. We can't do that. We can't block that defense end like that. We got to change it. We can't do that because so-and-so receiver can't get open against that DB. He's that good. We got to come up with a new – they don't have any of that. And that would be my one issue with their defensive roster is, they're coached well. They run that Cowboys defensive scheme. They're sound. They very rarely mess up. They hustle the ball. They tackle. They do all those things. That's great. That's good. But I don't know if that's going to beat the elite teams in the NFL. That's what I worry about. I do think they need to do something schematically to give their players a little bit more of an advantage. It can't just be always, this is what we do, and we're not going to mess it up, and we're going to hustle and play hard. That's just not realistic. Again, it may be if you're the Dallas Cowboys, who got Pro Bowlers all over the field at all three levels. They can get away with it. We just talked about Dan Quinn, and there's Dexter Lawrence, and, you get into the linebackers. We know they're studs. And, oh, damn, it's Byron Jones at corner, and Awuze's at corner. Damn, they're both amazing. So they can do that and play simple and get away with it. I don't think the Colts can, and I think that's one thing that jumped out to me about the game in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that hits it all for that. I don't know if there's anything else special. The Colts, they can't play man-to-man. That bothers me. Hey, Josh Jacobs is getting better every week. Gruden staying patient with the run, I thought, was one of the big keys to that football game as well. I would like to see them throw the ball down the field a little bit more.
It's not easy for him to do, is it?
No, it's not. He can go through phases, though, because he'll keep telling himself, pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock. Mm-hmm. And I would say it's been one of his strengths the last 2 years, at least staying – the attempts sometimes can be more important than the yards. Right? Just the attempts. Because now the defense is going, okay, I got to always think about the run. I can never just wipe it off my brain.
Right.
And you're helping the O-line. You're doing a lot of things by just the attempts to keep a defense honest rather than just, we're going to drop back and throw it, 60 times.
It reminded me, I wanted to bring this up during the Browns-Ravens discussion, but we went so many other different ways. But Nick Chubb getting a lot of credit for that 88-yard touchdown run. It was great. It was a good scheme. He talked about it. But if you remove that play, 19 carries, 77 yards, doing exactly what you want them to do with that offensive line.
Yes.
Keeping the defense honest and ripping off 4 yards to carry anyway, with almost 20 carries in the game.
Yeah.
Awfully good.
But you're right. And then that leads to what? Baker Mayfield throwing for 340
Getting
yards.
Under center.
Yeah, under center. And you see, gosh, now we're a little worried about the run game. They're staying with it today.
Yep.
All of a sudden the linebackers are a safety or whatever else. He messes up a coverage and there's a seam going down the middle of the field, whatever it may be. All right, I think we hit that one. I don't think there's anything more in that one that's like truly like big news or anything that I see in my notes where I go, that was a difference in the football game.
Peter King, what's he up to these days?
Yeah, well, the old Peter King. Good job leading me into that because I can't follow along, obviously. See, that's what happens when I read my notes.
An assist.
Peter King podcast. Peter's the man. Come on, living legend, Hall of Famer. This week, he's got his updated power rankings, and he has Texans wide receiver Kenny Stills on the show. That should be interesting to talk about because they were a little lackluster on the offensive side of the ball themselves this week. But Peter King podcast available where all podcasts are found. Check that out. And as you know, his Football Morning in America is one of the best columns there is. And there's an abbreviated podcast that goes over all that stuff every Monday as well.
Somebody's producing because you mentioned Texans.
Right.
Before we go, it's called Newsreel here. We want to get to a couple of Twitter questions about the Texans.
Let's do that.
Texans.
Texans.
Watson and the Texans O-line. There has to be some details we're missing here beyond the O-line not playing well. Poor play or bad play calls?
Well, okay. So first thing is the Panthers D is real. The Panthers defense is good. And I'm saying that I don't even know where they're ranked, and I'm going to look as we're doing this show, okay? Here we go. But I'm just going with my eye and just off the top of my head that the Panthers defense is real, and I just want to see their stats. Oh, they're the 4th in the NFL. Okay, so Chris was right.
You're talking about yards or points?
Yards.
Okay.
Points, okay. Points, they are at number 11. Okay. So it's good. It's a good defense, obviously. I mean, they're 4th in football. They're only letting them 156 yards a game in the pass game. So that tells you a lot. And just to let you know, that's the number 1 pass defense in football, okay?
Secondary,
and they played the Rams.
Yeah, that's right.
They played the Texans.
Yeah.
They've played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we just saw 55 points. So I think there's something we have to recognize about the Panthers defense. And the scheme they run, it's the Sean McDermott scheme, who came from Carolina.
Right.
It is really well thought out. It's smart. It's game plan specific zone coverages, right? You heard Deshaun Watson talk about the cover 4 and cover 4, right? All that. Yes, they play a lot of cover 4 and some versions of different things off of that. But I think that's the first thing we got to give credit to. Them having Bruce Irvin back, Paul. Now with Brian Burns and a Mario Edison on the edge, like they have a little bit of a rotation of a pass rush now where you go, ooh, okay, gosh, there's some freaks over here they got to worry about, let alone they got the 2 stud middle linebackers in Kuechly and Shaq Thompson, and they got big people in the middle, and then they're well coached in the back end. So that's the big thing I would say just to start off that conversation.
Carolina's defense.
Carolina's defense is really good.
But we're going to keep hammering on getting to the Texans offense.
Yes.
Max Mulcahy wants to know Texans offensive game plan or lack thereof. What's going on?
Okay, no, it's lack thereof, I would say, more than anything, okay? I come away underwhelmed with the Texans' offensive game plan more weeks than not.
Even with Deshaun.
Well, I know, and he falls under the category for me of they ask him to do too much with just his physical ability. There's just not enough served up to him to go, hey, here's a few easy completions every game. It's always like, hey, your easy completion is the 30-yard cross route. And if he's covered, we'd like you to just, kind of jam it in there, and DeAndre will catch it.
Right.
You guys got a good rhythm going. Just, throw one of those lasers you throw at the back of the defender's helmet, and DeAndre will catch it. Oh, okay, no problem, coach. So there's too much of that going on. Let alone they have, not a great offensive line, not a great running tack. I would say I think the Texans, just as I newsreeled that game and I didn't get into every detail, they would be one of those teams where I go, they got away from the run too early in this game. The Panthers called their bluff. They played pass like the whole game. They really did. They were kind of like, oh, yeah, you're in a running set underneath the center. We don't believe you'll run it. You'll play action or drop back to pass. I would bet you the Texans are another team that I would tell you, Paul, to say, please go underneath the center more, because the only time they go underneath the center is to run a play action pass. That's one of the tells I have on them. They're under the shotgun. You underneath the center, oh, it's play action pass. I can guarantee it. That's all they're going to do. They're never going to drop back from there. They don't ever do anything other than play action pass when Deshaun Watson goes underneath the center. But lack of creativity in the passing schemes, and because of that, Carolina knew their passing schemes and, like I said, appropriately drops guys in the right area to make life very hard.
Getting back to the Panthers defense, at James Best wants to know more about the cover 4 defense if people don't understand it quite well enough.
Sure.
So, lay it out there for us what cover 4 is.
Right. Okay. So cover 4 is, it just as it sounds, right? Your 4 DBs, your 2 corners, your 2 safeties. It's quarters coverage. Every guy has a quarter of the field if you just went straight back. But what's different about quarters is safeties don't just go straight back like on the snap. If a tight end runs let's say a 12-yard just curl it up route, the quarter safety is taught to drive on that. We're not just going to sit back and let them hit the ball in the zone there as you drop back into your deep quarter, right?
What if they run a post over the top of it?
That's going to be an issue, right? And those are the issues with that. Now, they tried to attack it a little bit, but without me getting too X's and O's, they didn't attack it the right way with the right route combinations. That would be my big issue. They tried to run the post a few times to the thing we're talking about here, but the tight end, instead of running a 10 or a 12-yard out or curl route, like I'm saying, he ran 4 or 5 yards and then ran an out route. The safety doesn't care about that. The linebackers are there for that. So now, when he's not threatened by that guy at 12 or 15 yards coming at him, he can then now go double the post. Because he goes, oh, that guy's good. Luke Kuechly's on him. I can now worry about the receiver outside of me, and he gets doubled. So they didn't have the right combinations to even take advantage of it, would be my big issue. But also within Carolina, they know they play cover 4. They know where they're susceptible, right? They're not idiots. They understand it. And they do a great job of disguising their cover 4, playing quarter, half, okay, where let's say one safety and one quarter are playing quarters coverage and the other side is playing either a cover 2 or even a 2-man on one side. So they hide it there to where you go, oh, okay, they've been giving a quarters line. Oh, we'll hit a quarters shot over on this side. Oh, damn, it's cover 2 to that side. We're screwed. Or they do a great job of making all these coverages look the same to where you think it's quarters, and then set hut, and you go, oh, it's quarter, half. Set hut, oh, it's cover 3 with like a real lazy, and for everybody out there again, with cover 3, it's usually a free safety way back deep in the middle of the field, and the strong safety comes down to almost linebacker depth, right? And plays that little area. Well, what they do a little bit is they just don't aggressively rotate that, and when they wait really long. And the safety, instead of coming down to linebacker depth, only comes down like a few steps. So when you want to hit like crossing routes and things like that, for like a 12 or 15-yard crossing route, the safety's there to get it.
Yep.
So they're great at little simplicities of their change-ups, of their coverages, and not making them look the same, let alone, just like Buffalo, they have the proper talent that fits the scheme. And that's where they're really good. If that made sense there.
There's a lot of nuance and a lot of details and a lot of, I mean, to be honest, difficult things that I think for people to understand.
I know
what they're doing. No,
yeah.
It's good to hear about,
Yeah.
but bringing me back to the point, what I heard the most from a former quarterback point of view.
Yeah.
You said it all lines up the same.
Yeah.
And even if you only play 2 or 3 coverages out of that, when there's that second of hesitation because you're not sure, because it lined up the same at the snap, that's where they get these guys.
Yeah, it's where they get those guys, no doubt about it. You're exactly right. And then they're extremely smart, just like as Dad was just saying. They're smart. They know what to look for. They've been coached about route combinations. Oh, when they get in a slot receiver set over here, this guy does this, then that guy does that. Oh, this guy does this, and then that guy does that. So they have a great feeling of that to where, it's zone coverage, and Deshaun Watson's dropping back, and he's like, this is the right defense for this concept. But they also know the concept too. So when you think a guy's open, and then all of a sudden you're about to throw, and you're like, holy crap, this is about to get tight.
Right.
I'm going to throw this ball, and they're going to be like, boom, boom, and it's going to, the ball's going to hit the guy as soon as the defenders are. And that's what makes them really good. And they got a quarterback in the middle of their defense, and Luke Kuechly, who's truly like a quarterback. The most communicative middle linebacker in football. I mean, I would love to play against him because I would think he's calling plays out and shit out. It's going here. And he's telling guys to move around and watch this pass. And he's making all these movements and doing things. I had that, with Zach Thomas and Ray Lewis. They were the 2 guys that always stood out to me where I was like, oh, shit, they know our play. Said, Hut, here you go, running back. Have fun with this one. And Zach Thomas is literally like, they're running it here. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, he's right. Said, Hut, you're Mike Pittman or Cadillac Williams. Oh, you're dead. But the Texans have to be more creative. They really do. There's no doubt about that. There's just got to be a little bit more imagination, just like we've talked about with a few teams already in the pass game. It just can't be always Deshaun Watson and him making a play with DeAndre Hopkins. Because you see, when that gets taken away, all of a sudden they have no offense.
Right.
They have no offense. All right.
That's probably enough football for Wednesday.
I think if we haven't hit every game in football and every angle in football, then I don't know. I'm sorry.
We came close.
But we're doing our best here. I can only watch so much film in 48 hours, okay? I'm doing my best. But, again, please keep sending questions. I love doing the X's and O's stuff. And if people want me to explain X's and O's or do things on the whiteboard, anything like that, I am all for it. And
Let's do that next time.
There's no question that's stupid enough. I have friends who talk to me all the time, and they're like, oh, yeah, they're playing Tampa 2. And I go, what is Tampa 2? And they don't even freaking know. So don't worry. And they're still my friends, so you're not stupid for asking. Right.
Yeah.
So all good. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Paul Burmeister, you the man. Thanks as always. Everybody be safe out there. Talk to you soon. Thursday's Pick Podcast. It's PFTPM Unbuttoned collaboration with Mike Florio. All right, peace out. See ya. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Simms Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.